Hi, George. My name is Amitesh. Welcome to Glitch in the Matrix. This is my co-founder Vedant Khandelwal. Can you please tell me about yourself and your journey and the projects that you're working on and the companies that you're leading?
Sure. Hello, I'm Amitesh Vina. Thanks for inviting me to your podcast. And I will speak a little bit about that. My personal journey starts from being a project manager with AI interests to actually getting hands-on development on AI tools. So first, just watching YouTube videos and how to do things, exploring around with ChatGPT, and then actually building code-based agents and offering them to potential customers. That was the realization moment where I saw that this actually could be profitable. And so I turn all my to that. It's been a short journey, but it's been focused on going from understanding it first and then doing business processes around it, and then actually looking at how this can improve other people's businesses from that.
Perfect. So, how long have you been into this domain of artificial intelligence and you started making these products?
Started last year around June doing hands-on work with AI agent development. It's been about a year and some change of actual advanced development within the AI space. And when I say advanced, so anywhere from agentic workflows to custom avatar creations, no code tool automation with AI
Wow.
engines. Before that, I started actually using it at work, just trying to get some of the workload complete a lot faster. And then I noticed it was a breakthrough moment for me when I was able to spend a good percentage of my time focusing on other things rather than heavy lifting with admin tasks or just work related items.
These newer large language models, they are coming out. Do you think that they are eradicating the need of clerical jobs which require repetition? And how does that influence your work at GamanAI and EasyBee AI?
I think we're still a long time away from that. I don't see adoption being going at the pace that I would expect, given the power of these tools. What I do see is the need for people to learn how to use them. Most people use it for simple question answering or getting more detailed information around it. Now, recently, I've seen more professionals use it for business-related purposes. What I can tell you is there is a wide range of applications outside just answering questions. Once people start to realize how easy it is to put together a custom GPT for that matter and a database sample, things expand pretty quickly. I would say in terms of the first question about eradicating clerical roles, the roles that are going to get eradicated are those that don't know how to use AI. So I think, but the reality is going to be more of who can use these tools, and those are going to be the people that are going to be prioritized.
As an AI operations leader at EasyBee AI, how do you see generative AI transforming your business and your competitors?
All right, so for EasyBee, we are a Gen AI based company. So everything is generative AI, from the admin tasks we do in EasyBee all the way up to the development that's the focus on. It's all around Gen AI. So I think it's not going to change anything because it's already the way we work. We are already starting ahead of the curve by not using other tools. And the way that we look at Gen AI is first, and then all the other tools that we're used to creating information around, like Word or Excel or PowerPoint, in our case would be the Google Suite. These are platforms where we put the content generated by Gen AI, so not the other way around.
And like, what exactly does EasyBee do?
EasyBee is a Gen AI startup that focuses on saving companies time, money, and effort by creating custom-made agents, whether text-based or voice agents, with Gen AI configurations that can provide a human experience and can automate specific tasks around a business process. That's overall what EasyBee does.
So at EasyBee, you are creating agents that can help your team and other companies to implement that agents, and it will do most of the repetitive task or a task which requires a certain number of jobs to be done for one cycle to be completed. Is my understanding correct?
Our focus is around AI agents, and you're correct. So we want to make sure that the processes we consider within these agent developments focus on automating certain tasks, taking the manual work out of common tasks like sales or other operational routines. This allows for the companies to change their focus on how they spend time. We are saving companies time, and we're bringing them into the AI curve at an early stage.
let's say there is a company and they are new into the market and they want to utilize your agent. So how difficult it is for a company to come to you and say, I want to implement an agent. What is your expected deliverable time, and how much they would have to pay for, let's say, an agent that does the research for a YouTube video script and writes the script for them, something like that. What will be the logistics of it?
Simple process. They would have to log into our EasyBee.ai website and then request a contact or contact us via any of our communication channels. What we do initially is just set up an intro call to try to understand what their requirements are, why they are contacting us. Once we have the scope of work, once there is a preliminary discovery around these requirements, it'll take us about 2-3 weeks to build our first prototype and be able to show that to our customers. The pricing varies, so I'm not going to discuss pricing, but we don't consider our pricing models foreign to what's out there in the market. We are considering complex automations all the way down to simple lead generation agents. The price range depends on the complexity of these functionalities.
I just want to get some more insight on Gaman.ai. Like, is it a similar thing, or it is just different kind of ones?
So I'm based out of Mexico, and Gaman's been a consultancy since 2015 that I've operated as a side business, primarily focused on IT training and consulting around business processes. And then with the Gen AI opportunity that I saw last year, the focus changed completely. So now, instead of trying to improve business processes around specific disciplines like Six Sigma or ITIL or any of those, now the transformative processes are all around inserting AI agents or AI efficiencies within each of these processes.
So, from what I see is like at Gammon, you are consulting and you are catering businesses and you are providing them details on how they can effectively improve their businesses. And on the you have EasyBee AI, which company is able to make agents using the cutting edge technologies, whether it is ChatGPT or Llama or whatever technology you are using at the back end. And with that consultancy, you're also providing them the tools, and you are charging for both of it. Is this correct?
Right. My role at EasyBee is more of an operational leader where I have a team of developers working to create these new generation agents, very talented folks, some from Northeastern University, some from Babson College, and some from some other areas of education and life as well. So that is currently a startup that is looking to grow big and take over the Gen AI space. We're way ahead of what most current Gen AI companies are at this stage. In Gammon, there's a geographical difference between both, but Gammon has more of a business consultancy focus. Whatever solutions that I embark within Gammon are more focused towards the training, development, and adoption of Gen AI within a specific company. We do build agents, so some of the foundational blocks that we use at EasyBee did come from prior experience within Gammon. However, the agents that we build in Gammon, they're currently focused on specific niches like lead generation for properties or car agencies, or even simple business processes. Now, with EasyBee, we're developing a wide range of use cases. We are niching down to specific use cases within several niches. We're working on developing a simpler model of AI agents that could be easily developed and adopted by any company across any industry. This model will allow us to, whatever niche we focus on, to develop it even further because of the simplicity of our development process.
What are some common challenges companies face when adopting AI technologies? And how do you address them in your training program?
That's a great question because I see that all the time. The common thing about Gen AI across all industries is that not many people understand it. So it's something so new and complex that most people try to avoid it because they think it's an extensive technical background or a greater investment than it actually does to get Gen AI on board. It's a misconception around what Gen AI is and how it can benefit a company. There's a big educational component around any sales process that has to do with Gen AI tools. The people that actually choose to adopt Gen AI are the decision makers within these companies. From my experience, middle management and most of the people that work within these companies don't really push for that adoption. So once you get a decision maker buy-in to adopt Gen AI, that's really where it all starts. Now, it doesn't stop at just adopting the idea of Gen AI as a company and as a business owner. You actually have to fight an uphill battle for people to start using it. So there's the educational component, and then there is the actual willingness of people to do it, which to me is kind of weird because this makes people's work a lot easier. Back to the initial point of replacing people, or
Yeah.
I actually think that people are looking at it the wrong way because they're being given an early opportunity right now to adopt Gen AI, and if they don't take it, then they're gonna fall back,
Right.
and they're not
They're
gonna
gonna fall behind in the
progress with the
race.
trend. Yeah, for sure.
You have a training
So
program where you train these people?
yeah, within Gammon, we've developed an 8-module course focused on ChatGPT for enterprise use. So it's not an official OpenAI or ChatGPT course. It's something that we developed. It's an 8-module course with small capsules within each module guided by an AI avatar. So just give some
Wow.
theoretical context, but most of the sessions are hands-on practice. We have Introduction to Gen AI as the first module, which just kind of tells people what they're going to do, all the way through advanced data analysis with ChatGPT Plus. These modules are tailored specifically to company requirements. So when we do these practice sessions, they are around the company's data. So we try to use what's there in their day-to-day work to complement these sessions.
Let's say the student like who is just like graduated high school and they want to learn more about AI and they just hopped onto your course. So what they can expect in like how much time they can learn, and not to the level of a PhD researcher, but to a level that they can do their homeworks and do their college work.
The course is not designed for students or just for regular folks. This course is specifically designed for people that are already in the workforce, that are companies with established teams. It's typically around 2 hours per module, so a total of 16 hours altogether. So we could do 2 or 3 weeks on the course, and then it ends with a workshop around how to build a custom GPT for the business.
In that process, they get educated about artificial intelligent products, their use cases, and they can buy from you or other artificial intelligent companies which are selling similar products. Is that the gap that we are filling it with the course?
As far as trying to get them on boards with my products, this is a course that I primarily offer in Mexico in Spanish. Most people that come into the course don't know what to expect. So it's really an evolving process from the first module all the way through the last, where we first kind of have to tell them in a very simple way how Gen AI benefits them as an employee, and how this can create career mobility down the road, and all the benefits. We try to educate them on that and just get them an intro on what Gen AI is, what ChatGPT does, why ChatGPT, right? So a lot of people are asking questions around, well, why do you choose ChatGPT versus all the other available options? So an explanation around that, an explanation around what are the benefits of using this as a primary tool versus using all the Office suites or Google suites as your primary tool. So we changed the way people are working.
What prompted your transition from financial and IT roles to AI consulting? Did you transfer some of the skills from that domain to artificial intelligence domain?
My interest grew when I started doing some of my traditional finance and project management roles with the help of ChatGPT. Even in the simpler version of ChatGPT, I was able to do so much that to me, it was just a no-brainer to start replacing my current tool set with AI tools. Once I realized how much more I could do with AI tools, it was an immediate change for me, and I haven't stopped operating that way since.
Which tools would be your go-tos just making yourself more productive?
I've been a career project manager since college. This has allowed me to understand the project management methodologies. In the finance space, it had to do a lot initially with project management. All these experiences allow me to see the number of inefficiencies that AI could take on. One of them being the note-taking component. So note-taking for me was the most painful activity as a project manager. You had to have a greater attention span to cover so many meetings across the day, capture so many action items, and then you had to reread these notes and interpret them. There was an entire clerical work around just the note-taking process. To answer your question, my preferred tool set, it first started with ChatGPT to process a lot of the raw data and ideas even to come up with content. When I started getting more into how you can manipulate information within files, how you can create entire technical resources around a project without being an actual developer, because I'm not a developer. My new tool set was mainly ChatGPT, automated note-taking tools like Fireflies or Fathom AI, in terms of where you manipulate the data before putting it in an actual deliverable. I came across Notion, and I know Notion is not an entirely AI supported tool, but it does have an AI component. It allows us to work in a more agile way. I could also speak on Midjourney, which is also a great tool that I use. Keeping those three components with the note taking, where you put the data around these ideas, and how you process all that data, I would think ChatGPT, Fireflies, and Notion are my go-to tools at this point.
Is there a tool that you would want to have, but it's just not there?
I'd like a tool to change in a way that it's more productive with me. For example, ChatGPT is awesome. You have like this sidebar with all these conversations, and then you don't have search capabilities within the interface if you're not on mobile. Rather than creating a new tool, I think it's just improving what's there. As soon as these engineering-centric companies start to grow and start involving more user-friendly roles, more designer roles, then these things, I think, will be possible.
Do you think Claude made the right step by including their playground section in the layout?
Oh yeah, I got really excited because I had a recent development with Claude. So I'd never really used Claude until I came across a tool that transforms an idea into a working app. This tool that I started using was very simple and it was very limited. When I got my first, it's called Llama Coder. Llama Coder, it transformed your idea into a working app. So when I started using that, then I came to the realization that Claude AI can actually do something very similar, but in a more robust way. And I tried it out, and I got an actual agent working within an hour, a very basic version of an agent, but I got it to work within an hour. I'm not a programmer. A lot of the programming foundation, I don't have them. This actually told me that what Claude did by incorporating this playground preview of what you're building is probably the stepping stone to all the other LLMs doing the same. This is so powerful that anybody like myself can create a working app, and not just the interface, not just the HTML interface, the actual integrations. Once people start realizing they can do that, it's only a matter of time. So I think they did a great job, and I think they pioneered that part of the game.
Agents are a sector of future, a small contribution of whole AGI picture. To create that agents, models are required, which you will know better than me. So what is your take? So there are two questions in here. Which are the companies which are leading this race and where they are going? And second question about agent creation and the language models or tools that you would use to create those agents so that they are robust and effective.
From my perspective, I'm not really sure how the landscape is really evolving as far as potential upcoming fundings or bigger companies taking over. But what I can see is that OpenAI is leading the race, and you could argue that maybe the newer model from Meta is more powerful. What OpenAI does have that no other company I see having is the backing of Microsoft, which is huge. So if you use Copilot is an extension of ChatGPT in a way. It's the same underlying technology. Once Microsoft is able to make Copilot robust enough to actually compete with ChatGPT and some of the things that they do, I think it's only a matter of time where Microsoft either buys OpenAI or they merge. You have other companies like Meta and Google, but from a user standpoint, I just don't have enough use cases around each of these other models as I do with ChatGPT. So that's my take on the first question. And then on the second question, it was around the model usage, right?
It was around the model usage and the tools required to create an agent. There are multiple ways to create an agent, but what are the bunch of tools that you use for your needs, and what are the bunch of tools that someone who doesn't want to pay high prices to companies and create a robust integration, but still wants to create an agent that can read an email or summarize it for them?
I won't give you the secret sauce, but what I will tell you is we do have a backend development that is supported by code. And this code has integrations into our LLM models via APIs and into a database. So for prototypes, we use a certain type of database. For other advanced models, we focus on the current robust solutions like Icon or SQL. It's keeping your server interconnected with all these different integrations and keeping the programming of these agents fine-tuned as you go through the development process. When you try to implement guardrails with just prompts, more than likely you're going to get some type of error or some type of deviation around what you're expecting. So you can't just rely on prompting. You have to actually create guardrails within the code. That helps with understanding the tools that we use, right? If anybody wants to get started in creating agents, you can do it just like me. So you can go into YouTube and you can watch some videos. There's tons of great resources around it. There's a group called AAA by Lee Motley. He's an AI influencer. He was one of the first people that I started looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, there's quite a few resources now in terms of the tools that they should use. So they can get started with Stammer AI. It's a great option. Stammer AI is an agent builder in a way that it resembles the way that we build these agents, but in a predefined setting. So you already get the dashboard and the back end in a very user-friendly way, but you get the options to integrate with other third-party tools. I would honestly say YouTube would be the biggest source of information around how to build AI agents.
Let's say I learned that I don't have any idea about AI, and I learned that. How difficult for me is it to get a job at EasyBee or GamanAI or any other AI startups after I know how to create a good agent? Is market open to hire artificial intelligence, or the inflation is also getting them?
No, there's a ton of openings about AI developers. It depends on what you're looking for. These roles in startups are bootstrap. The expectations on salaries for startups, you kind of have to assess what your needs are. In bigger companies, these roles seem way too technical. For somebody that's just starting and trying to understand how to work in an AI-centric environment, the startup is the way. However, keep in mind that most of these startups are not yet fully funded or are bootstrapped.
So for this person looking to get started, do you think there's an area which is unexplored, where there's a pocket of unmet demand that can be served with agentic frameworks?
Honestly, I think all industries have these pocket areas. We are just scratching the surface on agent development. Even if they're very robust, so we have some very powerful agents right now, and you'd be surprised with what they can do. We're still at a very early stage. We need to focus on the evolution of this is kind of just following these new trends that are coming up, like the voice agents that came up after text agents came up. Where are things going? Voice is where things are heading because of the simplicity of the interaction. And not only because you are able to just verbally speak to an agent, but because the conversation is actually also transcribed when you're doing that. So you get the experience, but you also get a deliverable with it. But I would say that right now, the ocean is just very blue across all industries. There are opportunities that can be exploited across any type of industry, any company for that matter.
How do you envision the future of human AI collaboration in workplaces, particularly in the roles that traditionally require a high level of human intuition and creativity? There are a lot of content creator roles opening at big tech companies, which requires a content writer or a script writer. So somebody's a logo maker, somebody's a graphic designer, website maker. Let's say 5 years down the line, ChatGPT or Anthropic, these guys are able to crack that and they are able to write the code. What's your vision like? How will he be able to work at 10x speed with these tools?
We're still super early. The adoption is not just going to be on the workforce, it's going to be on the leadership vision. Once the leadership teams start to realize how easy it is to adopt AI, how much money it can be saved from implementing Gen AI, there's going to be a rush to do efficiencies on the folks that can use these tools. I see it as almost an outsourcing effort, right? So in the 90s, we had this outsourcing to India and China, right? Maybe early 2000s. In the 2010s, for example, there was an incremental effort for U.S. firms to bring work into Latin America, Mexico especially. I took part of that effort. That's why I know about it. And what I see now is that those same efforts, but with AI, right? And unfortunately, it's not going to be like moving roles to another place. It's more so going to be as who is all specialized in these tool sets, and then wrap these roles around these tools. So I'll give a more concrete example. Most companies have a marketing department. Bigger companies invest a lot in having, like you said, a content writer, a web developer. These areas that are currently low-hanging fruit in the Gen AI space will get completely absorbed by a new Gen AI way of working. So basically, companies will be able to have their own marketing firm without being marketing specialists because they have everything to create graphical content, to manipulate that graphical content, and also to do things as far as creating a website or more advanced programming that has to do with content creation. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be a focus on who can use these tools the quickest and how these entire areas transform around the tool usage.
Can you share a story that you planned an AI project and it didn't go as planned? And what were the causes of setback and what did you learn from them? So that we can
Sure,
also.
we started trying to see where our products fit in the Mexican market. Unfortunately, Mexico is not as advanced in terms of technology adoption, and the sales curve is just a little bit longer, and the education component is more robust. First, to see what works in what niche. We came across this online university that wanted to have a AI agent developed for their website and basically a lead capturing function, which was the foundational agent that we developed initially within Gammon. Everything went perfect, all the way to the point of implementing the agent. So the agent was working. There were some nuances around, maybe the size of the chat bubble, just very, very small thing. A consideration that we hadn't discussed with the customer was the usage cost. Many people don't know about this and don't talk about this either. When you interact with a LLM, you consume tokens. When you are developing an agent, you have to keep in mind that if you're the developer, you're going to charge for the implementation and maybe the maintenance of it. But the customer is going to be responsible, or in a way, they're going to have to end up paying, at least in this model, for the interactions. When they realized that the interaction cost was just a little bit higher than what they were willing to pay, the entire project just kind of crumbled. We did everything. We spent, a couple months developing this thing, so it was just perfect. And then all of a sudden, it was like, we were not expecting to pay this much for people trying to join our university. So, so that's really an aha moment, because now how you tailor these customers now has to be more focused on the ticket size of it, people that can actually pay for these level interactions.
I'm a student at Northeastern and I was working as a data scientist at a company called CrewAssist, and these guys were building a market intelligence platform. From what I learned there and from what I learned from a university, I started creating some agents using Crew AI framework. You must know them. It's a framework with which you can create agents, something. When I want to scale them to a production level, when I want to bring it to life for people, I face a lot of bottlenecks, like technologies. I'm not very hands-on with cloud technologies and stuff. Can you just help me thinking in the right direction for the right approaches?
Like the right approach is to keep things simple. So I wouldn't start with an agent so robust that you have to figure a bunch of things out after you deploy it, or while you're deploying it. Like, do you really need a database? Integration? Do you need additional functions? So the simpler you can keep it to kind of gauge these market fits, I think would be the way. Also, if it's your first time creating an agent, why not use, the OpenAI assistants? That's a very straightforward platform. You don't need more than an API connection to it, and just general understanding how these agents are built. So that would be my recommendation.
And we have some rapid fire questions. These are fun questions, and we would expect you to answer choose either one, or you can describe your thing in one line.
Okay.
Let's do this. So first one, Apple or Android?
Apple.
Mac or PC?
PC.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Work from home or office?
Work from home.
Perfect. Emails or meetings?
Meetings.
Meetings. Books or movies?
Movies.
Beach vacation or mountain adventure?
Beach vacation.
If you could have, this is a good question. I like this question. If you could have dinner with any three people, dead or alive, who would they be?
The first person will probably Naval Ravikant. So he'd be the first person. Then the second person would probably be this is a tough one, because I want to say somebody within the tech industry, but I also have my favorites within the non-tech industry. So within the tech industry, I would say maybe Tim Cook.
Tim Cook.
Yeah, so I can understand, the innovation approach. From a non-tech standpoint, I would think Tucker Carlson. So he's just a guy that I just admire his way of thinking about the reality of implications of what's going on in the world. So yeah, that's why
Nice.
it's just hard.
Then those are the three ones. Perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
If you could live in any country in the world, which country you would choose?
Right now, Mexico for sure.
Mexico.
Yeah. In maybe a few years, I don't know, because everything is just evolving so quickly. And
Which book are you reading right now? The last book that you read?
so the last book that I read was The Wolf of Wall Street, the Straight Line Method. The current book that I'm reading is a book by the American Society of Pediatricians on how to raise your kid from age 0 to 5, because I'm about to have a kid. So
Wow.
We can consider them to be hot takes, right? And
Okay.
you can answer in yes or no. So is AI art different from digital art, which is created by humans?
No.
Okay. Should publicly available data be free to train on?
Yes.
Recently, we saw in the news that OpenAI hired the former head of NSA as their board of directors. So you think getting in bed with a government like this can slow down innovation?
So yeah, for sure. Governments are bottlenecks.
I learned a lot from George. Thank you for taking out time. People can obviously find you on your LinkedIn. I will put that into the description. But is there any other platform that you would want for people to know?
Well, first off, thank you for inviting me to your podcast, and thanks for the questions. But you know, I'm open to anybody that wants to reach out for whatever reason. If they just want to say hello, they can reach me on LinkedIn. They can also take a look at EasyBee.ai if you're a US person and you want to know more about what US companies are doing with the Gen AI world. EasyBee.ai would be the place to go. And you know, for the Spanish speaking audience, you can take a look at me at Gaman.ai as well. That's more of a Mexico based company, but you know, still has a lot of insight around what we do for AI consultancy and training. I think what you're doing is great. You know, I've never been on a podcast, and you know, I don't speak too much to people on AI outside of work. So this is also good, you know, to talk to different faces around AI. And so just to compliment you and thank you for the invitation, and just keep up the good work.